June 6, 2017. Dawn over the Euphrates is the color of dried blood when the first Kurdish and Arab fighters of the Syrian Democratic Forces cross the river in rubber boats under a sky full of American drones. Raqqa, the self-declared capital of the Islamic State, waits behind concrete walls and a million human shields. 4,000 of the most fanatical jihadists left alive after Mosul have turned every apartment block into a fortress and every child into a potential suicide bomber. What follows is 4 months of the most merciless urban siege of the 21st century. The plan is brutal and straightforward. Encircle the city, choke it, then eat it neighborhood by neighborhood. Coalition aircraft fly a strike every 6 minutes for weeks on end. By the end, they will drop more munitions on Raqqa than on any city since Vietnam. The SDF advances behind a rolling barrage of American artillery and French Caesar guns firing from 40 kilometers away. When they reach the old city walls, the fighting turns medieval. Streets are only 2 meters wide. ISIS snipers weld themselves into upper floors and fight until the building collapses on them. ISIS fights with the desperation of men who believe paradise is one more trigger pull away. They release lions from the zoo to slow advances. They execute families for using cell phones. Drones the size of suitcases drop mortar rounds through skylights. When the SDF finally breaches the National Hospital in September, it takes 3 days of room-to-room combat and costs an entire company. The stadium, once Baghdadi's parade ground, becomes a giant execution site where ISIS kills its own wounded, rather than let them be captured. By October, the city is 80% rubble. The SDF has lost 1,100 dead and thousands wounded. Coalition pilots are so exhausted they fall asleep in cockpits between sorties. Civilians who survived the bombs are shot trying to escape across minefields. The last pocket collapses on October 17th around a traffic circle that no longer exists. A Kurdish commander plants a YPJ flag on a pile of concrete that used to be the municipal stadium, and the caliphate dies with a whimper in a drainage ditch. Raqqa is worse than destroyed. It is erased. Satellite photos show a grey moonscape where neighborhoods once stood. 10,000 civilians are dead, some from airstrikes, many executed by the defenders. The SDF buries the last ISIS fighters in mass graves and begins the impossible task of finding the living among the ruins. The capital of terror falls not with a bang, but with the slow grinding of a city turned inside out. When the dust finally settles, the only thing left standing is the memory of what happens when ideology meets high explosive and refuses to blink.